right. Well, I think where we left off, I think we're at time. It is time. We left off at, we're about to start chapter 10. Does that sound about right? The
That's
next
what I
section of the
have.
book. Now, I need to tell you something before we begin. Next week is going to be our last week for a while.
Oh,
So we'll meet next Wednesday. We'll get as far as we can in Proverbs tonight and next week. And then I'm going on vacation, so we're not going to meet while I'm on vacation. And then I think we're just going to have a summer break for a little bit and then come back later in the summer. I won't wait till too long, but just know there's going to be a bit of a hiatus.
thank you, Vernon.
Yes, you have earned it.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so today we're reading the book of Proverbs. So we're on chapter 10. And who would like to read chapter 10 for me?
I better go get my Bible. Excuse me.
Okay, well, let's let Day get her Bible, then we'll start.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Don't wait for me.
Who'd like to start off today?
I can.
All right, so chapter 10, take it away.
The Proverbs of Solomon. A wise child makes a glad father, but a foolish child is a mother's grief. Treasures gained by wickedness do not profit, but righteousness delivers from death. The Lord does not let the righteous go hungry, but he thwarts the craving of the wicked. A slack hand causes poverty, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. A child who gathers in summer is prudent, but a child who sleeps in harvest brings shame. Blessings are on the head of the righteous, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. The memory of the righteous is a blessing, but the name of the wicked will rot. The wise of heart will heed commandments, but a babbling fool will come to ruin. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever follows perverse ways will be found out. Whoever winks the eye causes trouble, but the one who rebukes boldly makes peace. The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life, but the mouth of the wicked conceals violence. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all offenses. On the lips of one who has understanding, wisdom is found, but a rod is for the back of one who lacks sense. The wise lay up knowledge, but the babbling of a fool brings ruin near. The wealth of the rich is their fortress, the poverty of the poor is their ruin. The wage of the righteous leads to life, the gain of the wicked to sin. Whoever heeds instruction is on the path to life, but one who rejects a rebuke goes astray. Lying lips conceal hatred, and whoever utters slander is a fool. When words are many, transgression is not lacking, but the prudent are restrained in speech. The tongue of the righteous is choice silver, the mind of the wicked is of little worth. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for lack of sense. The blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. Doing wrong is like sport to a fool, but wise conduct is pleasure to a person of understanding. What the wicked dread will come upon them, but the desire of the righteous will be granted. When the tempest passes, the wicked are no more, but the righteous are established forever. Like vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes, so are the lazy to their employers. The teeth of the Lord prolongs life. The fear of the Lord prolongs life, but the years of the wicked will be short. The hope of the righteous ends in gladness, but the expectation of the wicked comes to nothing. The way of the Lord is a stronghold for the upright, but destruction for evildoers. The righteous will never be removed, but the wicked will not remain in the land. The mouth of the righteous brings forth wisdom, but the perverse tongue will be cut off. The lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked what is perverse.
Thank you. So it's a little back and forth through the whole chapter, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This says, I have a note here that says, Proverbial Sayings, a long series of separate two-line sayings, sometimes connected by catchwords and thematic associations, or forming small clusters. Most probably originally circulated orally. Opposites such as wise and foolish, righteous and wicked are frequently juxtaposed. Antithetic parallelism, in which the second line restates the first line in an opposite way, is used more frequently in chapters 10 through 15, while chapters 16 through 22 favor synonymous or synthetic parallelism, in which the second line repeats or extends the thought of the first. All right, so now you know. So we get the structure of it there, but most likely communicate orally. So can you just imagine someone walking around who's just rattling this stuff off?
I've known people like that.
Yeah, I can.
It's like some old guy in the park just walking around muttering these proverbial sayings, and you're like, what's wrong with that guy? Hi, Joyce.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good.
We've just read through chapter 10 of Proverbs, and we're talking about it.
Okay, thank you.
Pretty straightforward stuff, right?
In verse 10, where it talks about whoever winks the eye causes trouble. Have we had something like that in Proverbs already, or was that from our Sunday readings? I remember some reference to winking of the eye.
Winking the eye?
Yeah.
Winking.
Winks the eye.
I don't remember that. You're talking about getting with those troublesome women, but I don't remember the winking.
That's what Doc Holliday did in that movie Tombstone, remember?
It's a good one.
I'm looking at the concordant in the back, and wink doesn't even make it. So let's try eye. Let's see if that says anything.
Yeah.
Okay, where is that?
10. Verse 10.
Yeah, I'm not finding it. So I don't remember that, but it could have been. For those of you who don't join us on the Sunday morning formation, we are in the Apocrypha, and we're in the Book of Wisdom right now. No, we're not in the Book of Wisdom. We're in the Book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus. And it repeats a lot of the things that we're hearing in Proverbs too. So you'll forgive me and Jim if there's some confusion here, because we're hearing it sort of in both areas. Although Sirach has just sort of taken a turn. We were commenting Sunday that the first part of it was kind of okay, but now it's taken a real, very negative kind of dark turn, and nobody likes it. So we're kind of like, but we need to get through it.
So Linda found in the reference in the Bible that she's using, which is mine, chapter 6, Proverbs 6, verse 13.
Yeah, with the shuffling.
Winking the eyes, shuffling the feet, pointing the fingers, and perverted mind devising evil, continually sowing discord.
Yeah, a scoundrel and a villain goes around.
In Sirach.
Those are Proverbs.
Proverbs.
Oh, in Proverbs.
Yeah.
Oh, so back to something in Proverbs. Okay.
Yeah. 6, chapter 6.
But I do think the Sirach at least talks, something we just read in Sirach talked about shuffling the feet and all that kind of stuff too. Because you're going to lie, basically. Right. Is what it's saying. Yeah. You might have heard me laugh in the line 26. Like vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes, so are the lazy to their employers. It just made me laugh.
Yeah.
Well, anything else anyone wants to say on 10? I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, these little
Well,
sayings.
the only thing I had, I just opened my Bible. I've got the King James, but I had underlined a long time ago, number 3, the Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish. And number 12, hatred stirreth up strife, but love covereth all sins. Those are the 2 things I underlined.
That's good.
And in 12 there, we get that similar line in one of Peter's epistles. I don't remember which, if it's 1, 2, or 3, but Peter says, love covers all sins, or something to that same extent, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The Lord does not let the righteous go hungry. Except you said it much more eloquently.
No, King James did.
But he thwarts the craving of the wicked. Well, all right. It looks like 11 is going to continue more of the same. So then you have to wonder why they even broke and put it to a different chapter, if it's just going to continue kind of the same thing. But maybe it's going to go on to something different. Let me see if it says if 11 does anything different.
Well, there's a famous saying on number 29, he that troubleth his own house shall inherit the wind.
Inherit the wind. Speaking of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Did you go by?
Fruit of the righteous.
Did you go visit the place of the Scopes monkey trial while you were in that area? No, that's not in Nashville. That's somewhere else. It's in another part of Tennessee.
I didn't even know it was in Tennessee, I guess. So, no, we have not.
All right, who'd like to read 11?
I'll do that.
Okay.
A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but an accurate weight in his delight. When pride comes, then comes disgrace, but wisdom is with the humble. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the crookedness of the treacherous destroys them. Riches do not profit in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivers from death. The righteousness of the blameless keeps their ways straight, but the wicked fall by their own wickedness. The righteousness of the upright waves them, but the treacherous are taken captive by their schemes. When the wicked die, their hope perishes, and the expectation of the godless comes to nothing. The righteous are delivered from trouble, and the wicked get into it instead. With their mouths, the godless would destroy their neighbors, but by knowledge, the righteous are delivered. When it goes well with the righteous, the city rejoices, and when the wicked perish, there is jubilation. By the blessing of the upright, a city is exalted, but it is overthrown by the mouth of the wicked. Whoever belittles another lacks sense, but an intelligent person remains silent. Gossip goes about telling secrets, but one who is trustworthy in spirit keeps confidence. Where there is no guidance, a nation falls, but in an abundance of counselors there is safety. To guarantee loans for a stranger brings trouble, but there is safety in refusing. A gracious woman gets honor, but she who hates virtue is covered with shame. The timid become destitute, but the aggressive gain riches. Those who are kind reward themselves, but the cruel do themselves harm. The wicked earn no real gain, but those who sow righteousness get a true reward. Whoever is steadfast in righteousness will live, but whoever pursues evil will die. Crooked minds are an abomination to the Lord, but those of blameless ways are his delight. Be assured, the wicked will not go unpunished, but those who are righteous will escape. Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman without good sense.
Sure.
The desire of the righteous ends only in good, the expectation of the wicked in wrath. Some give freely, yet grow all the richer. Others withhold what is due and only suffer want. A generous person will be enriched, and one who gives water will get water. The people curse those who hold back grain, but a blessing is on the head of those who sell it. Whoever diligently seeks good seeks favor, but evil comes to the one who searches for it. Those who trust in their riches will wither, but the righteous will flourish like green leaves. Those who trouble their households will inherit wind, and the fool will be servant to the wise. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, but violence takes lives away. If the righteous are repaid on earth, how much more the wicked and the sinner?
Thank you.
You know, actually, pigs are supposed to be some of the smartest animals on the farm. This is really funny.
And that's what you thought, right?
Yeah. Dirty, but smart.
So the note on that line for 22 says a single line proverb containing a criticism of superficial esteem for beauty using an animal comparison. Okay. Ear and nose rings were common adornments of women. Such beauty is wasted on both a senseless woman and an unclean pig.
So according to Rashi on that one, the reference is to a Torah scholar who turns from the quote good way. So that is actually someone who uses their knowledge of religion to lead people astray.
For that, specific to that verse 22, or just
specific to that verse of 22?
Wow. Yeah, that would make sense.
Well, the note on that verse in my Bible says that throughout Proverbs, character is what counts. When not matched by inward beauty, good looks seem ridiculous, as this saying humorously suggests.
Okay. Anything else stand out there to anyone?
It was kind of more of the same, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that opening line, a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but an accurate weight is his delight. The note says, weights and balances and their misuse is another recurring theme in Proverbs. Because, you know, we hear a lot throughout some of these scriptures about those who use false measurements to weigh things so they can get more money out of somebody, or, you know, use it to trick you, to lie.
To steal, yeah.
And no one's going to know looking at it if that's really, you know, a pound or 2 pounds or whatever, most likely, unless that's what they do.
The old finger on the scale.
Yeah.
Well, number 13 is kind of like do not bear false witness. A talebearer revealeth secrets, but he that is a faithful spirit concealeth the matter.
Mm-hmm. I have a note here on 14. Then it says, "Where there is no guidance, a nation falls." And for nation, other things will say an army falls. But in abundance of counselors, there is safety. So, what would you say, Jim, in a military sense, that if your platoon leader is missing or there's not any guidance, it doesn't, the platoon is kind of helpless, isn't it?
Well, not in the Marine Corps.
Not in the Marine Corps, because they're all good.
I have a Marine grandson, so
No, the platoon sergeant then becomes the platoon leader, and after him, the senior squad leader. So there is a chain of command for such catastrophes, which happen in war.
So to say no guidance would have to mean that pretty much no one is, the whole thing is wiped out.
Yeah.
All right. And so I think we're going to follow in this pattern, at least up until I think we're going to have it for a while here.
Yeah.
Quite a while.
At least through 19 or 20.
Come on.
All right. Well, let's just keep going, and maybe we'll learn something.
I think it's got a lot of good advice in there.
There is. So let's keep it going. We'd like to do 12.
I'll read it.
Okay.
Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but those who hate to be rebuked are stupid. The good obtain favor from the Lord, but those who devise evil he condemns. No one finds security by wickedness, but the root of the righteous will never be moved. A good wife is the crown of her husband, but she who brings shame is like rottenness in his bones. The thoughts of the righteous are just. The advice of the wicked is treacherous. The words of the wicked are a deadly ambush, but the speech of the upright delivers them. The wicked are overthrown and are no more, but the house of the righteous will stand. One is commended for good sense, but a perverse mind is despised. Better to be despised and have a servant than to be self-important and lack food. The righteous know the needs of their animals, but the mercy of the wicked is cruel. Those who till their land will have plenty of food, but those who follow worthless pursuits have no sense. The wicked covet the proceeds of wickedness, but the root of the righteous bears fruit. The evil are ensnared by the transgression of their lips, but the righteous escape from trouble. From the fruit of the mouth one is filled with good things, and manual labor has its reward. Fools think their own way is right, but the wise listen to advice. Fools show their anger at once, but the prudent ignore an insult. Whoever speaks the truth gives honest evidence, but a false witness speaks deceitfully. Rash words are like sword thrusts, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts only a moment. Deceit is in the mind of those who plan evil, but those who counsel peace have joy. No harm happens to the righteous, but the wicked are filled with trouble. Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who act faithfully are his delight. One who is clever conceals knowledge, but the mind of a fool broadcasts folly. The hand of the diligent will rule, while the lazy will be put to forced labor. Anxiety weighs down the human heart, but a good word cheers it up. The righteous gives good advice to friends, but the way of the wicked leads astray. The lazy do not roast their game, but the diligent obtain precious wealth. In the path of righteousness there is life. In walking its path there is no death.
"27 doesn't seem to make sense to me. The two don't seem to go together unless I'm missing something.
I was wondering about that too. I thought I misread something.
Some are too lazy to cook their own food, and so starve in the midst of abundance. The diligent do not waste such opportunities. An exhortation to good use of resources. I took a little exception to verse 21. No harm happens to the righteous. I think lots of harm can happen to the righteous.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it means in an eschatological way that you are still saved.
Yeah.
Day, what does King James say for verse 21?
He says, there shall no evil happen to the just, but the wicked shall be filled with mischief. The King James is very different from.
Yeah, the way it says, so
right.
No evil happening to the righteous makes a little more sense. That to me makes, I can agree with that more. I think that I can. No harm happens to the righteous, but if it's meant in that sense.
Depends on what evil means.
Right.
Bad things. Bad things happen to everybody.
So I've also got a Hebrew translation here. And the way that it's kind of got Rashi interspersed with it, which is no mischief or unintentional sin will befall the righteous. Since God watches over him, he prevents him from erring and helps him overcome his inclinations.
That works. Yeah.
Whereas the wicked are filled with evil, for one sin draws another sin.
One sin, yeah. Just like when you try to cover stuff up, you lie to cover something up, then you have to lie to cover up that lie, and then lie to cover up that lie.
Which, in a very weird way, ties in with 27.
Yeah, what does yours say on 27?
Well, I'll just read the note. It says, the way of the hunter is to singe the wings of the birds he traps so they will not fly away, but not so the deceiver. He will not burn the wings so that they will look whole, and thus cheat the buyers. For once bought, the birds will fly away, and all will be lost to them.
Interesting.
Which then it goes on further to say, although a man's wealth is precious to him, if he gives from it to the indignant, his wealth will be more valuable than the best gold, which lasts for a long time.
Day, how does 27 read in the King James?
The slothful man roasteth not that which he took in hunting, but the substance of a diligent man is precious.
The substance of a diligent man. So using substance instead of wealth. And I have a note here that says with wealth, it says the meaning of the Hebrew is uncertain. That's all interesting. Yeah, it's that Jacobean language is always so fun sometimes. It sounds more intelligent, doesn't it?
I like number 28.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What does 28 say there?
And the King James is, in the way of righteousness is life, and in the pathway thereof there is no death. Yeah. So that sounds pretty good.
That sounds very like verses, some of the verses in the Psalms, doesn't it?
Mhm.
What am I trying to think of? In the paths of righteousness there is life, but the way of the wicked is doomed.
Let's see.
Something we just read recently, psalm wise.
And the interpretation of 28 by Rashi is that a righteous man's life, because of his, well, I'll just read what I have, including the translation. It says, the way of righteousness is life, and days are added to the righteous man's life because of his charity, and there is no death in the path of charity.
Here's a psalm, Psalm 38:18. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. That's kind of the same thing.
All right, so 13, it starts similarly to 10 with going back to the wise child. So who would like to read 13 for us?
I'll do that one.
Okay.
A wise child loves discipline, but a scoffer does not listen to rebuke. From the fruit of their words, good persons eat good things, but the desire of the treacherous is for wrongdoing. Those who guard their mouths preserve their lives. Those who open wide their lips come to ruin. The appetite of the lazy craves and gets nothing, while the appetite of the diligent is richly supplied. The righteous hate falsehood, but the wicked act shamefully and disgracefully. Righteousness guards one whose way is upright, but sin overthrows the wicked. Some pretend to be rich, yet have nothing. Others pretend to be poor, yet have great wealth. Wealth is a ransom for a person's life, but the poor get no threats. The light of the righteous rejoices, but the lamp of the wicked goes out. By insolence, the heedless make strife, but wisdom is with those who take advice. Wealth hastily gotten will dwindle, but those who gather little by little will increase it. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. Those who despise the word bring destruction on themselves, but those who respect the commandment will be rewarded. The teaching of the wise is a fountain of life, so that one may avoid the snares of death. Good sense wins favor, but the way of the faithless is their ruin. The clever do all things intelligently, but the fool displays folly. A bad messenger brings trouble, but a faithful envoy healing. Poverty and disgrace are for the one who ignores instruction, but one who heeds reproof is honored. A desire realized is sweet to the soul, but to turn away from evil is an abomination to fools. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools suffers harm. Misfortune pursues sinners, but prosperity rewards the righteous. The good leave an inheritance to their children's children, but the sinner's wealth is laid up for the righteous. The field of the poor may yield much food, but it is swept away through injustice. Those who spare the rod hate their children, but those who love them are diligent to discipline them. The righteous have enough to satisfy their appetite, but the belly of the wicked is empty.
Those who spare the rod hate their children. That seems extreme to me, to think if they don't want to punish their children. But I mean, I guess it's just getting to the fact they don't discipline them. They don't care for them enough to help them learn what is right, I guess is what it's getting at.
They put them in time out now. They don't hit them with the rod.
Yeah.
I knew.
Some children in their own way beg for that discipline.
Right.
That's the only way they can get attention. So they're naughty.
Anything stand out to anybody in any of this? Or did a verse jump out at you?
Well, I underlined 12 a long time ago. I think my grandmother used to quote that one. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life.
Yeah, that is a good one, isn't it? I like that one too when I heard it. And what it made me think of is, that feeling of like that, you were promised to, we're going to go to the baseball game on Saturday, and then it gets rained out and you have to do it another day, and you just have that sinking feeling. And I know that's a little thing, but that's kind of what I thought of, that, oh, it's coming. And then, no, it's going to be a little bit longer. And you just kind of go, oh no. And you have that sinking feeling. But then when it's fulfilled, wow, that tree is a good analogy, because you live off of it for a long time, don't you?
And you like it even better when you wait for it.
That one above it about wealth hastily gotten will dwindle, kind of like winning the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
When people just going through their money, or maybe some professional who gets paid millions and millions, and it is gone. And so that was a little odd.
Yeah, if you win the lottery, it's gone real fast, because all of the cousins you never knew you had come out and ask for some of it.
Yeah.
I used to work for a workers' compensation firm, and most of our clients would get some sort of settlement. It's a fair chunk of money for an injury. Within 6 months to a year, a lot of it was gone.
Yeah.
And that's the point of the next line. But those who gather little by little will increase it. The diligent one who saves their pennies, and you'll watch it grow.
Yeah.
It takes patience, though.
Yeah. Easy come, easy go.
Yeah.
I guess that's why we have the stock market here in this country. Some people catch on to the stock market and invest wisely, and others do not.
Yeah. And that's why we have stockbrokers, so you can pay the ones who know how it works. And hopefully they're righteous.
I think number 8 is kind of
Wealth is a ransom for a person's life. But the poor get no threats. That's interesting.
Now, there's a certain freedom in being poor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're safer if you're poor?
Probably in a way, yeah, because there's nobody's after you for anything.
Yeah.
The note here says, paradoxes of wealth and poverty. The wise were against excessive wealth, but in favor of a moderate amount, enough to feel secure. Wealth can even put one in danger of criminal threats. Get-rich-quick schemes are not favored, but rather careful saving, obviously. We already talked about that one. Yeah. So yeah, there is that. There at least, certainly in older times, biblical times, that if you had wealth, you were a constant target. I mean, I guess today you still are. Look at things that you never thought about, like cyber crimes. People are coming up with more inventive ways to steal or harm, which is awful. I'm always amazed the things that people come up with, like the fact that someone had to create a virus to put on a computer to mess it up. And it's like, what's the point of that? I mean, I guess ransomware has a point in that you want them to pay you to fix it, but I don't know. I think it's just evil that someone would just do it just for the sake of doing it.
Well, and they haven't read Proverbs, obviously.
Yeah, apparently not.
Well, and Rashi says something slightly different on it. And it's that the ransom of a man's life is his riches if he gave charity from it. And as long as he never rebukes or embarrasses the poor at the time he was distributing charity to them.
That he'll be safe?
I'm sorry?
That would make him safe?
Well, yeah. Because it's actually written differently.
We're blessed in this country to have philanthropists who put money back into society to help a lot of people.
Right.
In our country or worldwide. I mean, it's a blessing to have people in philanthropy that have the money and the willpower to do that. There's some rich people who never put anything into a restoration of society or to make things better. They just hoard it all for themselves.
Because the way, Andy, the way that it's actually written, the way that the translation is from the Hebrew is the ransom of a man's life is his riches, and he never rebukes the poor.
Mm-hmm.
There is a note that refers back to chapter 10, the 15th verse, that says, "The wealth of the rich is their fortress, the poverty of the poor is their ruin."
Oh.
And that was Proverbs 10.
15.
And then 16 says, "The wage of the righteous leads to life, the gain of the wicked to sin." That's kind of interesting too.
Well, yeah, I mean, that plays into the whole charity idea that, if you, the more you give, the more you get back, right? Where the gain of the wicked to sin, meaning they're just going to use it to do more evil things and will only get evil back. So it's the same thing. It's, the measure of what you give, you're going to get back in however you decide to use it. For good, you'll get good. For evil, you'll get evil. Well, let's go on and hear about the wise woman. Don't you want to know what the wise woman thinks?
Absolutely. Yes. I'll read that one.
Okay.
And so this is out of the Revised Standard. I'm the one with that one.
The RSV. Okay.
RSV. "Wisdom builds her house, but folly with her own hands tears it down. He who walks in uprightness fears the Lord, but he who is devious in his ways despises him. The talk of a fool is a rod for his back, but the lips of the wise will preserve them. Where there are no oxen, there is no grain, but abundant crops come by the strength of the ox. A faithful witness does not lie, but a false witness breathes out lies. A scoffer seeks wisdom in vain, but knowledge is easy for a man of understanding. Leave the presence of a fool, but there you do not meet words of knowledge. The wisdom of a prudent man is to discern his way, but the folly of fools is deceiving. God scorns the wicked, but the upright enjoy his favor. The heart knows its own bitterness, but no stranger shares its joy. The house of the wicked will be destroyed, but the tent of the upright will flourish. There is a way which seems right to a man, but its end is the way to death. Even in laughter, the heart is sad, but the end of joy is grief. A perverse man will be filled with the fruit of his ways, and a good man with the fruit of his deeds. The simple believes everything, but the prudent looks where he is going. A wise man is cautious and turns away from evil, but a fool throws off restraint and is careless. A man of quick temper acts foolishly, but a man of discretion is patient. The simple acquire folly, but the prudent are crowded with knowledge. Right. The evil bow down before the good, the wicked at the gates of the righteous. The poor is disliked even by his neighbor, but the rich has many friends. That's right. He who despises his neighbor is a sinner, but happy is he who is kind to the poor. For they do not err that devise evil. Those who devise good meet loyalty and faithfulness. In all toil there is profit, but mere talk tends only to want. The crown of the wise is their wisdom, but folly is the garland of fools. A truthful witness saves lives, but one who utters lies is a betrayer. In the fear of the Lord, one has strong confidence, and his children will have a refuge. The fear of the Lord is the fountain of life, that one may avoid the snares of death. In a multitude of people is the glory of a king, but without people a prince is ruined. He who is slow to anger has great understanding, but he who has a hasty temper exalts folly. A tranquil mind gives life to the flesh, but passion makes the bones rot. He who oppresses a poor man insults his maker, but he who is kind to the needy honors him. The wicked is overthrown through his evil doing, but the righteous find refuge through his integrity. Wisdom abides in the mind of a man of understanding, but it is not known in the heart of fools. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. A servant who deals wisely has the king's favor, but his wrath falls on one who acts shamefully.
Thank you. So a lot of wealth in this one again.
Yes. What to do with your money.
Yeah. And the poor.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's interesting here, though, we talk about charity and we talk about giving to the poor and how, the wise person, the righteous take care of the poor, do not mock the poor, do not turn down the poor, right? In my line of work, I come across a lot of people who ask for assistance, right? And to follow this is very clear. I think Proverbs is very clear in its intent of helping those less fortunate. Yes. But oftentimes when there is a group of people who make it their livelihood to go from charitable place to charitable place to milk the system, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a danger in that. So that is the scheming and conniving side of that are those who just look for handouts that are, not for what's the word I want? Not for good reasons necessarily, right? And that's a fine line. And one would say, well, you're a priest, you should give to anybody who asks. Well, yeah, but you also have to know why they're asking or what the situation is, right? And it becomes, it's a deceptive arena.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was a beggar on that corner at Broadway going out to the airport. Mm-hmm. And one of the men who was worked in the building talked to him one day, and he had an apartment, and he had a pretty good life, and he made pretty good living there on that corner.
Yeah.
just getting the handouts. So,
but in that sense, I guess he could be doing it to better himself. Sure. But then there's those who do it simply to then do evil with it.
They just want to scam the system.
And it's not, it's not our place to judge. I mean, we know that. And I have to remind myself sometimes, if I help this person, are they just going to take the money I give them and go buy drugs or go do this or go do that? And I have to remind myself sometimes, you know what? It's not my decision. It's not my place to judge. I'm what they do with it is their business. I'm simply trying to help. So I mean, it becomes a real issue sometimes of helping those in need and what constitutes need, right?
So I happen to have, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's the, flip that over. What is going on?
Jewish wisdom. You had it right. Yeah.
It's the Jewish wisdom. It's Rabbi Joseph Telushin, Jewish wisdom. And it says here that Rabbi Shomolke of Nicholsburg said, when a poor man asks you for aid, do not use his faults as an excuse for not helping him, for then God will look for your offenses and he is sure to find many.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a hard thing sometimes.
That's kind of how I've always viewed it. Is it's my job, if I've got $1 in my wallet, I'll give that $1 to the person on the side of the street. Whatever that person decides to do with that $1, that's between him and his God.
Right.
My God says to give. What you do with it, that's between you and your God.
Right. Right. And that's there's that side of it, and then there's the side of those who come, who need help with their utility bill or help with rent. And that's a legitimate thing. And the way you guard against that is you don't give them the money, you pay the money to the utility company, or you pay the money to the landlord, which covers it. And 9 out of 10 people, they're very grateful for that. And the one person will be like, well, that's not what I want. Well,
I'm laughing. It's not funny. It's sad. Jim knows what I'm going to say about a person who came to our poorer parish time after time after time. My children are hungry. We'd like to get them pizza. Remember this? And so they didn't just give the money to the person. They went and got the pizza and brought it back.
We actually called in an order.
Called in an order. Okay. And the order comes, they go, and he's like, but we wanted, that's not the kind we wanted.
yeah. Wow.
The kind we wanted the one we ordered was going to make their, quote, kids throw up on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and obviously the message of Proverbs is all of that, people trying to gain, or lie for gain, whatever aside, to give charity to those less fortunate. Yes, that is the message, and yes, that is, and we certainly can do that and do that. I'd like for us to do a lot more of that.
Well, and I think most of us would like to be able to do more of it.
Right.
I think one way to do it is by supporting agencies that do it well.
Right.
And do it carefully. I've also heard, okay, if you've got somebody that says they're hungry, give them food or give them a gift certificate to some place where they can get food.
Right.
Rather than giving them cash that may end up in their arm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And again, at the end of the day, it's not our decision what they do with it, but
I think I understand exactly where Kyle's coming from, and I admire him for having that attitude. We shouldn't judge.
Mm-mm.
Unfortunately, I'm judgmental.
Well, do you want to enable bad behavior? Alcoholism, drug addiction, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's easier to understand if you have a relationship with a person. So, in my previous parish, I got to know the people that I helped a lot, and they knew what I was willing to do, and they knew how often they could come ask for help, and there would be a point where they would come back and you'd say, look, we're not getting anywhere with this. All we're doing is enabling you to not overcome some things. So let's find other ways to help you. And maybe that means in one case it was the person couldn't read. So let's get you, take you to the literacy center and get you a tutor so you can learn to read. And, that's, once you develop that relationship, you can then begin to learn what some of the other needs are that help them. And you can stop that cycle of that they're in, but that takes time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we as a society have certain standards and we have certain expectations. I mean, everywhere I've ever lived or worked, we always had standards and expectations, just like in society, we have certain things that we expect.
Yeah, I know, but you have to ask yourself sometimes, did it hurt me to give up that $1? No. Yeah. Did it help them to get it? I hope so, Well, I think we might be at a stopping point tonight.
Well, and to cap it off, since we're talking about poor and charity and things of that nature, at the previous church, there was a guy who had been homeless and had been on the street and had addictions and things of that nature. And one of the things that really kind of helped me go, you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to judge. I'm just, if I've got $1, I'll give it. Is he goes, I know what I did when people gave me money. I know how I spent it, and it wasn't always the best way. He goes, and even now, when I see people on the street, I'm still going to give them money, knowing full well what they're probably going to do with it. And I went, if you can be that honest and know what you've done with it, and that's how you would want people to still treat you, then that's what we need to do.
Yeah. No, that's a good thing.